Hey everybody, welcome to What Drives Us. My name is Russell Frost and I have the pleasure of being your host at a very special episode. So special it has no episode number. We can't, look at this. Look at your screen. There are like 5 million people there. Okay, maybe not 5 million, maybe just a dozen or so, but very important people. You're familiar with most of us, but so I'm going to run through introductions and then turn it over to Zach to introduce the people you're not familiar with. My co-host and co-founder of this show, Danny Cooper.
Hello. Glad to be back.
Who?
Yeah.
I was waiting for that.
Well said. Yeah. My other co-host, and you have seen him on the show regularly, Mr. Tony Schaefer.
Hey, everybody. It's going to be a great show. Buckle up.
Thank you so much. You haven't seen him on the show in a while, but he is our friend. And yeah, he drives a Tesla now, but we still like him. Dr. Evan Fusco, who has nothing to say because his mic's muted.
Yeah. I still have 3 Toyotas, all hybrids, so I think I qualify for being on the show.
You absolutely qualify for being on the show, but I get to, bust you a little bit on it. He once had a Prius. He now has he has a very fast Model X. Mr. Casey Green.
Hey, everybody. I did drag race the Prius. Russell's got pictures.
And we will show them off later on. Our good friend, Mr. Encyclopedia. I like to think of him as the president of Canada, Mr. John B.
Hi, great to be on the show.
Excellent. And the last What Drives Us panelist, who is firmly ensconced in a Gen 1 Prius. Yes, none other than Mr. Paul Guzik.
Hey, and if anybody can recognize this wonderful screen of 1990s technology.
Woo!
What video poker game was that stolen from?
Is that Gen 4?
Yes.
No, it's Gen 5.
It's Gen 5. Yes, it's a secret. It's a new Prius.
Retro.
So we are blessed to have with us members of the current Prius team from Toyota, the leader of which is Mr. Zachary Reid. I'm going to turn it over to Zach to introduce that team now. Zach, take it away.
Awesome. Thank you, Russell. Thank you so much for having us. Like Russell said, my name is Zachary Reid on the product communications team. I work directly on Prius. I also have via phone my boss, Nathan Kokis, who I know a lot of you know. And then we have kind of the entire Prius marketing team here. So we'll start with the senior manager, Tiffany Schudo, who has been on Prius not that long, but has been with Toyota for 20 plus years. And I know her well from product planning. And so great to have Tiffany with us.
Thanks, Zach. Great to be here.
And then we also have Rama Momen, who is manager of Prius.
You're muted, Rama, but it's okay.
And then Ann Bowie, who is our senior analyst, senior planner on the Prius marketing team.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, Ann.
Hey, Ann.
Hello.
And then Anthony Oliveira, who is also new to the Prius team, but been in VMAC a while. So great to work with Anthony as well.
Thanks, Zach, and hello, everybody.
Hello. And there's 2 people left that you don't know.
There's 2 people that I'll pass back to you, Russell. Go ahead.
Well, no, and he's not on the Prius team currently, but he used to be on the Prius team, which is why he's here. Mr. Doug Coleman.
Hey, guys. Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
What's your current title, Doug?
I can't tell you that.
Yeah, it's secret.
Yeah.
I like to think of Doug as my friend in the CIA.
Accurate, yeah.
Yeah, it's easier that way. It's just easier. And speaking of friends whose titles I don't know anymore, but she was for a long time on the Prius team, in charge of the Prius team, and our dear friend, Erica Gartsby.
Hi, everyone. Great to be back.
Great to see you again, Eric.
Yeah, good to see you guys. I want to real quick, I want people from PriusChat.com who are watching this show probably had no idea that it's Doug and Erica who were Prius team for 7, 8 years. I mean, they knew Doug and Erica. This is what they look like. These are Doug and Erica.
Yes. And
We
please
looked
send
better then, I think. At
Yeah,
least
I was gonna say, we may have looked a little different.
A little younger.
Erica, you haven't changed. Doug looks much older.
Thank you. Thank you. And
We're
wiser, I'm
waiting
sure.
for like the Prius hats to show up and all those photos to rock on. We'll see.
All right.
That's something else.
Okay, I gotta let me
I think
There.
Evan has one.
Danny's
There we-
sporting
yeah.
his.
Let me
Yep,
just do this.
Tony's
Yeah,
sporting it.
cover right here.
Yes, it's not a sex toy.
These-
Those are hats.
These will come back. We'll talk about these.
We'll
I think,
come-
a little
we'll come back
later.
to that.
We'll come back to those.
Tony still looks like CGI. Like it doesn't look like what he's holding is real. It's so bizarre. Okay.
It isn't. It is CGI. So we want to start off, I guess, with not like a history of the Prius, but about how it started, where it started. I mean, Zach, I guess is that you, or should I turn that over to Doug? Or
Was anyone here on the
Yeah.
Gen 1?
Yeah, I've been with Toyota 4 years, so it's definitely not me. Doug would probably know more. I mean,
yeah, I'm not looking for a Wikipedia article. Just you know,
okay.
so
Yes. Oh, okay. Then yeah, I can do that.
Yeah.
First sold in '97 in Japan. We just celebrated 20 years 3 months ago this July. So it first went on sale in July. What was that? Make it July 2000.
2000.
The model year 2001. We've sold about 6 million Prius worldwide, and we're at about a little over 1.9 million in the U.S. Good enough? You want me to keep going?
No. End of story. 6
All
million. Mic drop. Done. Boom. Over. Okay. Thank you.
All right. Great show. See you all. Good night.
You guys have a wonderful night. It was a blast.
So I want to, this is my concern, and I don't know if it's a concern or not, or I over exaggerate, but talking to current Prius owners now, I sometimes get the impression that people who own a Gen 3 might not appreciate why Prius exists, why Toyota chose in 1995 or before to come out with Prius in 97 or bring it to the United States in 2001. I mean, and I get in arguments with some people. They were like, no, Toyota wanted to make a really good hybrid vehicle. And I argue with them and I say, no, Toyota wanted to make a low emissions vehicle that ended up being a hybrid. So, I mean, can you talk about the origin and what prompted Toyota to go in the Prius direction?
Zach, you want to take that? I'll take it if you don't want to.
Yeah, you know what?
Because
I've been talking too much, Doug. It's on you.
I've probably touched every generation of Prius at this point. But that was even before my time in the early 90s. When the company decided that they just wanted to take a kind of a moonshot and double the fuel economy of the vehicles that were on the road at the time. And it was a real challenge from the top, and they just gave it to some of their senior engineers to go work on, and they did in very, very quick time. And hybrid technology became the solution to get to that achievement. So as you know, it was kind of shown around the world in the mid 90s, and then ultimately launched in Japan. And for a long time, we thought about, do we even bring this to the United States? And ultimately, of course, we did. It was a little bit of Toyota willpower. But even in those early days, I don't think the company realized what it would become at all. In fact, we were very scared. At the time, if you recall, in 2000, at the New York Auto Show, the #1 hit was the Hummer 2 concept, and that's what driving was all about. It was big and macho, and I could say the same thing about 20 years later, but that'll be a different show. And so we were really nervous. Could we even sell 12,000 of these cars? And we exceeded every expectation. And we'll talk more about the history, but that's where it started out. We wanted to double fuel economy and see if we could do it, and we did.
I think the thing that's staggering for me, and not to skip over all the history, but is like what a moonshot it was. Like, we're going to do this, we're going to develop the system, and HSD has now become the underpinning of, possibly most Toyota vehicles very, very soon, as you're electrifying, as Toyota's electrifying the fleet. And they're doing that by adding hybrid synergy drive to vehicles that didn't previously have it. We're seeing that. And then the next step, by making them primes, making them plugins, whether it's RAV4 or Prius. Do you have any idea in 2000, 2001 that it was going to be that big?
None. Like I said, there was a lot of fear that the idea would even succeed at all in the US. And it took off. You know, everybody on this call tonight knows what Prius actually means, the actual word, right? We know its origin, to go before. And that was the idea, but we didn't know what the after was. It was just, well, let's call it to go before, and then we'll see what happens later. But now we know. We know that the technology worked. We were able to improve it generation after generation. And you're kind of looking back over 20 years and seeing all the different models now that we've deployed the same fundamental architecture, you know, to so many. There you go. Thank you for putting that.
So cool.
But putting that same fundamental architecture on so many vehicles, millions of different cars, and it comes in different flavors now. You can get, you know, more fuel economy. You can get more power. But at the end of the day, it's still the Toyota hybrid system underneath the hood. So it's really neat to see what the legacy of that initial to go before Prius has left.
Yeah, you know, I think it's important to remember. I think it probably couldn't be fully appreciated. Maybe there was somebody out there that realized it, especially at the launch of the second gen, that I think a lot of humanity was primed for a change in automobile technology. And you know, I wasn't an environmentalist, I wasn't a greenie, I wasn't a tree hugger, but I realized it was really freaking stupid that I was burning 2 gallons of gas to get to work and home every single day. And that seemed really stupid to me. And then to have this car that has this advanced technology that makes things work more efficiently, not just because it saved me a couple bucks on gas a month, but because it made more sense to humanity into the future. And it was an advancement in the technology. And then you throw in there the fact that, you know, the Bluetooth, which really wasn't a thing like before the second gen. I mean, you could get it in a couple of really high-end luxury cars.
And the smart key.
And the smart key especially, and that fact that I didn't have to put a key in the ignition when I got in the car. Are you kidding me? That was absolutely revolutionary.
It was like spaceship-y.
It was, and it was a complete revolution in automobiles. And now, and the touch screen display, those things didn't exist, right? And now, find me a car that doesn't have those things. Good luck. I mean, you can't. Every car has a touchscreen display
Hyundai
now.
Elantra.
Yeah, that's about it, right?
Up to the challenge.
My second gen without smart key. I'm sorry.
Right, and you can make fun. You know, you can make fun of the Prius as a nerd car, an egg car, or whatever the heck you want to call it. But there was something absolutely revolutionary about it, and I think a lot of us that really appealed to, that we were seeking something different and something unique, and something that was a quantum leap forward in automobile technology.
Well, now pretty much every car has a smart key type system.
Absolutely.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Push button.
So yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay, I want to follow up on Evan was talking about, you know, saying that, you know, nobody was thinking in that direction. And in 2002, Sam Rowe wrote this article for the Chicago Tribune called Supercar, The Tanking of an American Dream. And in it, he goes back to 1993, where Bill Clinton and Al Gore were unveiling the future of American vehicles that would achieve this super high miles per gallon. It was going to be super efficient. And I met Sam Rowe. I've gotten Sam Rowe's permission to actually distribute this article. So I'm going to include the link in the description of this video. It's an amazing, it's absolutely an amazing article. And if you get a chance, read as much as you can on that, if not the whole thing, because it does talk about how America was primed to go in the direction of super efficient vehicles, you know, burning less fuel, you know, fewer emissions. And we know that Al Gore did not win the presidential election. And then an oil family came into power, and the supercar project was terminated. And then along came the Prius and the Honda Insight, and hybrid started taking over from that point.
That's some great history there, Tony. I wanted to touch upon something that Russell and both Russell and Doug said, which is how ubiquitous Prius really is and how influential it's been over the last 20 years. And as Doug said, to go before, right, that's what Prius means. But so many of these bits and pieces and components on a Prius today are used because they're so well tried and tested on a whole bunch of our other vehicles, hybrid, including Mirai. So it's a testament to someone having the foresight, I would say, not knowing necessarily where we would be 20 odd years later, but having some level of foresight to say, we're going to innovate and we're going to do something pretty amazing here. And it's not what the world expected, but you know what? This is Toyota and this is what we're going to do. So I've got to say, it was very exciting back in 2000 when this car first came out. And Paul, I'm so proud of you just sitting in your Gen 1. I was at our regional office back then. And in those days, I was a field traveler. I was a district manager calling on our dealers on the sales side of the business. And when you were the district manager of the month, you were given a Land Cruiser to drive because it was like a nice little payoff. And one particular month, I think it was literally Prius, the first gen Prius had just been launched. We were out there trying to get this weird little car out into the world and tell people about it and show people on environmental days. And this particular month, we had an event on a Saturday, and I was asked to take this Prius up to Hesperia, where this environmental event was happening, of all places in Hesperia. So I parked this V8 Land Cruiser at the regional office in Irvine, picked up this Gen 1 Prius, drove all the way to Victorville, did this event all day, and then drove all the way back to back to Irvine again to my office, and then picked up this crazy V8 Land Cruiser. And I was just thinking about this just a few moments ago that, we were just talking about Doug was talking about what was big then, right? Hummer. The bigger the car, the more crazy the car, the better it was, apparently. But it was just the craziness of driving this V8 and then this car that gave you over 50 miles per gallon and was a revolution. So it's just incredible where we've come.
Yeah.
It has, I mean, it's obviously changed Toyota. Toyota's using that drive technology as an underpinnings of most of its cars, and it's changed everyone to an extent. It's moved that, I guess, the Overton window over to now that, the Hummer, even though gas is cheap and no one cares the new Hummer is going to be electric.
That's right.
When they could just as easily make a turbo diesel one, probably. And probably sell 1 million of them, right? Because they sell 1 million Raptors. Or not Raptors. I don't know. Anyway, it's amazing. Any other story about the progress? I mean, any roadblocks that were hit along the way or anything serious? Because it just seems like it was a slow build for a long time. And then, maybe late in Gen 2, early in Gen 3, things started to take off? Maybe early Gen 3, things started to take off?
I would argue that it started at Gen 2, right? That was when suddenly we were able to triple volumes and this unique thing that profile nobody had ever seen. You guys talked about the innovative features, and suddenly it was a hot commodity, and everybody could see a Prius coming down the road, so you could just visually understand that something was new. But we were still limited with production. We weren't getting a lot, and so we were selling out ahead of time. And I think what you're referring to, Russell, is when we started to get towards the tail end of Generation 2, in the late 2000s, and entering Gen 3, we're able to boost the production to start meeting that demand. And then it wasn't just something you saw occasionally. You started to see them in a lot of different places. And that's when, and I wanted to talk about this. I think this is a really important part of the story. And Erica has a lot of support for this. She provided a lot, is the Prius experts and the community. I think the community started to develop, especially during that second generation. And I'm curious, if you guys can tell us, how did it start? How did the connections form such that we have a Prius chat out there and we had a Prius experts community? So let's get into that, because that's an important part of the story.
Well, so about a while back, I had an idea for starting an online community.
Roscoe can actually start with this one back in the Yahoo group days.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I mean, but
Yeah,
you know,
I think
let's be fair to Danny, man.
I think we've each got one of these. Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah. Danny, definitely a shout out. It was, what was it, Danny? Thanksgiving of what?
Yeah, it was
2004?
Yeah, it was
2003?
mid-November of 2003 was when Prius
Okay.
Chat was launched. So it'll be 17 years this next month.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing.
Yeah. Month after I got my second gen, I got mine in October of 03, and then joined Prius Chat in November as the, I think, first moderator, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What's weird is that this was all like pre-social media days. There was no Facebook, there was no Twitter. The only way that we had to get the word out about it was to basically pilfer the Yahoo group email list and kind of start to point people over to the site, just simply because it had features that the Yahoo groups couldn't rival at that point. And you know, what's funny is that Yahoo or Facebook groups are almost like forms of those Yahoo groups today. You know, we're kind of come back full circle.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
Except with maybe less hate.
More arguments.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But
the arguments are shorter though.
You didn't realize it, but it was a great way for manufacturers to learn about what the customers were talking about, right? We didn't have that kind of access before then. And I started secretly lurking on Prius Chat back in 2003.
Oh, don't worry, Doug. For the moderators, it wasn't a secret.
It was.
He wasn't on there as Prius Team.
John was very surprised. I remember his most animated facial expression ever was when he learned how long I had actually been on Prius Chat before we let everybody know. But it was a great way for us to learn and understand what the community wanted and what the enthusiasts were saying and how that spread to the greater masses. So we started to just discover and learn, and that then led. I see you guys had some of the Prius expert material on. That led to the concept of the Prius experts, and I think Erica was instrumental in that. I think we should hear from her on how that came about and how we fed that whole thing.
I'm
and
sure
how we all
like,
got
in
to
today's privacy world, like none of what we did was probably okay. But, I'll say that as the Toyota employee now, but like,
right.
It was, I mean, we were eavesdropping and reaching out to all of the different moderators that we could find that were running Prius sites. And we started with the teaser campaign for the third generation Prius. And that was really like, I think Doug had been in touch probably the year prior for here and there, purposes, but those were more, and correct me if I'm remembering this wrong, it's all a little foggy now, but, those were more like when we had an issue or needed something. That wasn't really more like embracing the community and becoming, joined in some ways. And so for us, it was a way to, we were looking at the Honda Insight relaunching, and we were looking at what we knew to be, the target date for revealing the third generation Prius and trying to think about how to do things differently. And the community had, those Yahoo groups, I don't know if there was something before them, but they were like Gen 1, weren't they? Like some of the people that I remember were like super early adopters, and we had talked with them as we were trying to spin up the Prius experts. But really the what I remember was reaching out to Russell, and reaching out to Danny and some of the other like forums and groups that existed at the time, and launching that teaser campaign to slowly leak out, the micro images of the third generation Prius and really engage the community. And like you said, this was like, a year or two after Facebook became like a thing. It was very early in the world of social media. When I talk about, my experience on the Prius team, in my post Toyota life to other employers. It's like, man, this was like before we knew what an influencer campaign was. Like we were reaching out to
that word didn't exist.
Like that term didn't exist. And so this, the image you just saw was the Detroit reveal, where we flew people from across the world who had never met in person. Many of them had never met in person, and created that virtual bond turns in real life moment. And people got to meet, and people got to share their enthusiasm in person for the Prius, and enjoy the reveal moment. Maybe more so than the Toyota folks there. It was really special for you guys in an amazing way for us to all observe how excited you were. And you guys, if you remember, you built, I don't know if I'm supposed to reveal that, but you helped build that attendee list, with Doug and me over Christmas break or something, something like that. Really, it was a mixture of your most engaged community members from all different walks of life.
And from all over the world. I mean,
I remember. I remember that, and it
Sparks
was
from Australia.
Right, and it was a back and forth, and again, I don't know, of course, Prius and Toyota is the only interaction I've had, but I don't know of other manufacturers or anyone who has done anything to that extent, and even the level of interaction, having Prius Team on Prius Chat, and just literally directly talking to owners and prospective owners and soliciting feedback and listening and responding. The level of interaction was just unparalleled at the time.
Doug, good hair.
And
wow, you both have hair.
That hurts.
Yeah, it was, the Detroit reveal happened, and I think shortly thereafter, we really wanted to make a formal way of recognizing those of you who had been so instrumental. I think Doug, I remember so many little quotes, here and there. I remember Doug saying, and it may have been on one of these episodes, the community owns this brand, right? And that was so clear that somewhere in that second gen swing, between Hollywood embracing the vehicle and all of the early adopters from the tech standpoint and the environmentalists, things had shifted, and Toyota no longer controlled the brand. We were there to shepherd it as much as we could, but really it was about kind of how do we engage more with the community and understand the community's perspective and make sure that we are listening. And you guys became our focus group of 9 that we could constantly bounce ideas off of and gain knowledge from, take your temperature before we went out to, more legitimate research. And it was just honestly, it was a great relationship for all of us to have, I think. It was really special.
Yeah.
I want to just double back on one thing, talking about you guys secretly being on Prius Chat. So after Danny started his thing, I did a different thing, not a forum because I hate forums. And I did a little news site called Prius Owners Group, and that's how I dipped my toes into the water. Well, one day my traffic tripled, and I was dumb. I still am, but dumb as a stump as far as where does traffic come from? How does this all work? I just thought I could throw up a WordPress site and talk and it'd be cool. And that's all I cared about. So I dug around and found out to it and figured out that Toyota had hired a company in Canada to crawl my site extensively. And this is why my traffic was tripled. It wasn't really traffic. It was, what is he saying? What are the comments are saying? Because every morning I would just go in there and do my best curmudgeon-y sort of, why are people picking on Prius thing? So anyway, thanks for those traffic numbers, by the way.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah, I'll never forget one conversation I had with, I think it was Erica. She called me around the time of the teaser of stuff that they were putting out, the little snippets of car shots, and you have to put together a puzzle sort of thing.
Oh,
and
LKA camera.
Yeah.
That was the one that stumped the members the most, the LKA camera.
Yeah, I remember just being kind of gobsmacked by one day she called me and there was some sort of issue. I forget what it was, but it was all about the orchestration of getting the pieces out there at the right time, et cetera, et cetera. And I had started this site kind of just because I was bored one night, and here I am 6 years later getting a call from somebody at Toyota telling me about a problem in Tokyo that she needed to talk to me about. It was just one of those, surreal moments of like small community forums having a major impact in a like a massive organization.
Listen, you guys were massively important, right? Like, and I can point to so many moments, that dark age of recalls where you were able to be the voice of reason and get out there and take your own cars for, God, what do we call it? A hot flash or some whatever needed to be done. Somebody more technical will remember than me.
No, just go with hot flash. It sounds like
the software, something like that. Hot flash
pieces.
And I mean, I remember Russell going in there and getting in line with the dealers, and the dealers letting you behind the scenes where you weren't supposed to be. Just again, it's like and I think I remember the chart that showed like the importance of, friends and family referrals and trust of corporations had waned, and it was so much more important to hear from those that you trusted. And so you guys became that outlet for so many people across, the world when it came to Prius information. I know that one's a fun one.
Well, and remember when we set up Ask an Expert, right?
Yeah.
That was kind of a milestone too, to have a place where members could ask, really smart people about Prius. And I kept thinking after we set that up, that was the best idea we ever had, because now Eric and I didn't have to answer those questions. So,
and how we got that past legal, that somebody else is going to answer customer questions on our page.
I mean, well, for legal, the best contact I ever had was Doug, because once I got to know Doug, my legal issues with Toyota stopped. So thank you very much, Doug, for all your assistance over the years.
Nice.
I can't prevent your legal issues with the law, though. So
No, that's fair. That's fair. It stays within that zip code. I understand.
Yeah.
But you're right. The collaboration, that mutual trust that was required. It's a rare thing, that happened, and I have to think that went a long way in something this novel and unique to be able to say, not only is the car unique, but our community is unique, and the way we are going to deal with and approach it is unique and special, and these are real people that you can trust. You're not just listening to a TV commercial or a spin
corporate spokesperson,
right? That's telling you this stuff, and I think that went a long way, because it clearly has gone a long way. I mean, look at 6 million cars or whatever are sold now, and it's got to be still one of the most common cars you see on the road these days. So
we still bemoan people who walk into dealerships, not of Toyota dealerships, but of other manufacturers, and they go in and say, I want a plug-in, or I want a hybrid, or I want, this battery powered vehicle. And the dealership says, oh, well, that's great, but let me show you what I'm making commission on this month. And, and they can't answer basic questions of the technology. And I remember we would swap stories amongst the experts of going to, like, I would go to the Chicago Auto Show, or when we were at the New York Auto Show for the reveal of the current generation Prius, or it was the Prime, Prime. Yep. And
right there in the background.
We would go hang out at the Prius exhibit, where the Prius was, and even some of the product representatives, bless their hearts, were not that very well versed on the technology of Prius. And they would sometimes say, well, I'm not really sure, I'll have to get back with you or something. And that's when we would step in and start answering questions, real world questions for people who were asking real questions, or, real world answers for people asking real questions. And I remember so many times people would say, "Oh, do you work for Toyota?" And I would say, "Well, no, but I own this car."
No, but I've got the shirt.
Right.
I worked for a dealership at the time, so it was kind of
Very
like
good.
slipped in there.
Well, remember Green
Yeah.
Drive Expo when I was wearing that shirt?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'll tell you that the level of attention that people pay between a paid spokesperson who might have just memorized a few stats and someone who says, "This is my daily commuter," that's huge. And that was the role you allowed us to play through the Prius Experts program and through Prius Chat. And prospective owners could go on Prius Chat and just lurk and see what current owners were saying. And for the most part, it was always positive. And yeah, I mean, you're right. It was a truly organic community that grew and promoted Prius.
And what a brilliant,
Except for the reverse beep, Tony.
Yeah. I turned that thing off right away.
and what a brilliant layer of like plausible deniability too. We didn't say that; they said it.
Right, yeah. That was
The
a
nerd
blonde
said
guy.
it.
But that also makes it more authentic. It was interesting. I remember getting an email one time from the Boston Museum of Science and Industry or something. They wanted pictures of the Prius. And I thought, okay, I'm a dude in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. You're a museum. Toyota probably has a publicly known phone number. Why you call? And I was more than happy to supply them. And I did with the pictures they needed. But it was funny how at the forefront in some ways. Oh, there we go. There's Paul. We were,
yeah,
in our own weird little way.
Gen 2 with the JBL package.
That's Boston, right? To go before.
Yep.
Yes. I'm still envious of that shirt, Paul.
I toned it down a bit.
I know, but I'm a big fan of that one, my friend.
It's a good crowd, though.
It was a good show. And we even sadly, Erica knows what I'm going to say. Erica got drawn to the front when she had not intended to.
No.
And I still feel a little bad about that, Erica, but not a lot bad, just a little
You
bad.
took some cannonballs that day.
Yeah.
From me, mostly.
Ah.
You know what? It was, I think it was actually a really good moment because it was not the Toyota corporate kind of side, I hope. It was an unplanned moment for those that don't remember it or got spared that freezing day, Doug. I still have the blanket upstairs, by the way, from that farm. I think we got into it over like, why hybrid? Why not bet on EV and other technology, right? Like,
yeah, it's why aren't you pushing the technology? Yeah, it was exactly that. There's your blanket.
The same. There we go.
Perfect.
That's when I still had a hairdresser who could actually cut my hair.
I was going to say your hair actually looks really good there, Erica.
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
I mean, not that it doesn't look nice now, but
many years to get a haircut. Otherwise, it's fine.
Girlfriend. Oh yeah, COVID hair.
But you know that conversation's not over yet. I mean, we still have that same frustration. I think to this day with here actually is that moment when you got up there.
Like, oh God, here we go.
Yeah,
here we go.
Look at Russell. He's like,
Zarina was with me. Zarina was new to our team, and she was like, "Uh-oh." I was like, "Here we go."
That's the guilt I'm still feeling.
It was again, it wasn't a corporate setting. We were there as kind of like silent supporters at that particular event, and it was a really good dialogue. It was just a good, honest dialogue. And obviously, like, as, a company rep, sure, I had to watch, some lines here and there, but like, it was a really candid conversation with a really important group of advocates for the brand. Some, maybe had turned the corner on the brand more than others, but it was a really great experience.
So I think it's fair to assume that all of the viewers of this video are going to send in non-disclosure agreements. And with that assumption, would anyone currently on the Prius team want to discuss the future of Prius, especially when the next generation is going to offer a full EV?
I don't have to answer that anymore.
Look at them all coming off mute together. They're all clamoring.
Actually,
I'll take a swing if you want, guys. No.
Take that one, Erica. Take it.
Yeah, Tony. Let's turn this one around, because you're going to get stares and smiles back at you right now. But
yeah,
let me turn this one back around. Let me take advantage of all of you amazing people, and tell us why you love Prius 20 years later. Tell us. I mean,
I'll give you one good reason. I just bought a car. 4 weeks ago, Paul. It was an 08 second gen Prius.
Thank you.
That's my fourth one.
Thank you.
So why would I want a Prius EV? Because I'm invested. I get it. And Toyota's made a product that has proven itself. There are 6 million of those bad boys out there with hundreds of thousands of miles on them as cabs, as food delivery trucks, as company vehicles, as personal vehicles, and people are doing all sorts of crazy stuff with them, and they still work.
So here's why I still am a fan of Prius. This is my backseat of the first Prius I bought in 04. Second gen, got it in October of 2003.
Wow.
I had 3 kids, all in car seats at the time.
Awesome.
My 21-year-old son now owns that car and is out in Alamosa, Colorado, drives it to college, 180 something thousand miles on it. Here we are, 17, 18 years later, still running great, still the original battery, no major repairs on it at all. For some reason, the 12-volt battery keeps dying, but we'll figure that out. But, my son has my wife's Highlander hybrid in 06. And so my other 21-year-old son, obviously still running great, 170,000 miles on that. And we bought my daughter a 2010 Prius for her first car. They're reliable, they're safe. They get great gas mileage. They are, like I said, unbelievably dependable and great little cars for somebody starting out, that you don't want them to have to worry about remembering to plug it in every night when they, can't remember to put on clean underwear every day. So it's a great car in that aspect.
Evan, you just made me think of our next tagline. Got it down.
You can send the checks to Evan Fusco.
That's right. Yep. So underwear.com. I got it.
So underwear.com. But at the same time, I think I still have that same angst with Toyota and their utter reluctance to produce another vehicle, either in the Prius line or in a different line, that's a full EV that's out there to compete with the Teslas of the world that are out there. And that's why, for my wife and myself, we've moved on to Tesla. We can remember to plug it in every day, and it's in many ways a superior vehicle. And so my frustrations back to the Prius are, you've got to keep innovating. That same energy, that same breaking new ground that the first gen and second gen made, don't lose that traction, right? That name, that reputation of Toyota is still there, and you've got to keep pushing that. And everybody knows hydrogen isn't going to be the thing, right? Anybody with a brain that understands physics knows that that's a bad choice. But
in
somehow,
the United States, for individual passenger vehicles.
Right.
I'm so glad I don't have to respond to that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. So, that's where the letdown is, I think, still for us fans of Toyota and fans of Prius, is keep that innovation, keep that energy going, keep your foot on the accelerator, so that, we can still have that. And I would love to be driving a Toyota EV right now.
Well,
I did.
I guess one question I have is, how does Toyota, how does the Prius even, without massive innovation, how does the Prius even compete with other cars in the Toyota lineup, like the RAV4 Prime?
Ding.
Sorry, Danny, explaining what you're asking about. Are you talking about performance or how it performs on sales? Or, I mean, how does it relative to
performance,
technology?
EV range? Does Toyota see Prius as a lineup where they are going to continue to innovate on the efficiency side of it? Are they going to take what they've learned on the RAV4 Prime side of it and apply some of the performance aspects of that to future models? Or it just seems like a car like the RAV4 Prime has found a balance of performance and efficiency, and it seems like the Prius is, sorry, but it's primed to follow in those footsteps if it wanted to. And this is me speaking as a layperson, having no engineering background. So I guess I'm just kind of wondering, like, we've seen the Prius be innovative in the past. I'd love to hear if there's anything that you guys can offer on how the Prius is going to be innovative in the future, because it seems to just be incremental upgrades that it's gotten over the last, it's across generation 4. And so, like, where do we move from here now that you guys have blown the doors open with this RAV4 Prime?
The one thing I'd like to say about that, I think, Danny, to kind of maybe answer your question, and you just heard me say kind of maybe, so can't answer it directly. But what I would say is that, this 4th generation Prius is based on Toyota's TNGA platform. It was the first vehicle that we introduced in the United States that had that platform. And I think maybe, other than the people on this call right now, the general public didn't realize what an advancement that vehicle was from a ride handling, multiple different innovation perspectives. And maybe we could have done a better job with that. I don't know. But this 4th generation Prius was very different in styling, whether you liked it or not. But it tried to be different, and it tried to make a name and a place for itself. But what's interesting is that, and it's Paul, you're driving the 1st generation Prius, hybrid technology. You see Prius in almost any vehicle that has Toyota Hybrid Synergy Drive on it today. So when you say, where does Prius go tomorrow, you're seeing the advancement of Prius to go before in many of our vehicles, including, I think, what was talked about, RAV4 Prime. And hey, hey, buddy.
Hey.
Sorry, Ronald.
And so all I want to say there is that, it's constant evolution, and what you're seeing today in RAV4 Prime is maybe the evolution of where Prius continues to grow. What will happen with next generation Prius? Not at liberty to speak to, and just watch the space.
Again, remember, everyone is going to sign a non-disclosure, so you can say it.
Right, absolutely.
We'll just put a flash screen right at the beginning of the video saying that you will not, by watching this video, you agree to all these. I'd like to chime in if possible. Just again, owning, actually almost to the date. I think I picked up my Gen 2 on the 25th of October, 2004. As a 2005 vehicle, Thailand, Pearl moved on to a 2010 technology package with a solar roof. We have a 26 currently, a Gen 4 Touring, and now traded that 2010 for a Prime. And just seeing the evolution from everything that we've discussed before, how the Gen 2 was innovative, forward thinking, had all this cool tech, the smart key, the Bluetooth, the 7-inch multifunction display, and just having this powertrain that gamifies, fuel efficient driving. And again, I realized the target for Prius is low emissions, ultra low emissions. But of course, as a side of that is fuel efficiency. The less you use, the less you pollute. And then we're seeing that move along with the Gen 3 with the solar roof. I realized there were some technical issues, I think, maybe I don't know if I'm allowed to say that. But the final product that we got in the Gen 3 was still useful. And again, with the radar cruise, that only now we're starting to see it become democratized across all makes and models. The lane keep assist, the pre-collision system. So that was still forward thinking with a little more a mainstream design. I remember on Prius Chat, the members that were joining that had the Gen 2 and the members that were joining that had the Gen 3, like that, it definitely targeted a different buyer. The new members that were coming in and that were introducing themselves, the previous cars, some of them were coming from BMWs, Porsches, just it was appealing to a different and a wider, I guess, range of audience. And now going to Gen 4, now I realize from the hybrid powertrain, maybe it didn't seem like the big jump that we wanted, but also realize that there are American laws that maybe prohibit certain things that were on the Gen 4 that we aren't privy to. Things like the intelligent traffic system, that's the ITS, that's in the Japanese Gen 4 Prius and the Prime, the solar roof that's available on the Japanese and the European Prime, as well as the Matrix LEDs headlights, again, that we aren't privy to because of US headlight laws. So there are, I'm seeing that there were advances that maybe we weren't able to get just because of regulations. But I'll definitely say the biggest thing after driving the Gen 2 and Gen 3, despite the, I remember Erica consulting us saying, okay, we're gonna introduce this new suspension system. It's gonna reduce the cargo space. You guys okay with that? We're thinking about removing the rear wiper. You guys okay with that? And definitely driving the Prime, there was a significant improvement in handling over the Gen 2 and Gen 3, even with that big battery swinging out in the back. Like, there is just no comparison. And I thoroughly enjoy driving the Prime. Granted, it could be improved, definitely. And the one thing I like about the Prime is that from what I can see, just from the hybrid system and the battery, Toyota knows how to make an efficient electric vehicle. I was able to squeeze 40 miles out of that Prime's one charge. So you guys can do it.
Vehicle.
Yeah. Like yeah, I mean, we've had no issues with any of our vehicles, any of our Prius vehicles.
So I think one of the issues that we've had over the years is that we've often heard people refer to Prius as a gateway car. They drive, and even with the Gen 2, people are like, okay, well, this is a gateway car toward hybrids. And so this is a gateway car toward plugins. Great, now we have the Prime. So, the Gen 2, Gen 3 was a gateway to the Prius Prime. The problem is the Prius Prime becomes, even the Prius and the Prius Prime become gateways to people going full electric. And as people decide that they're willing to completely forego gasoline and they want to go with a full electric, where do they stay within the Toyota ecosystem? I think I know the answer.
They don't. I mean,
they don't.
I know dozens of Prius former owners that are driving Teslas now because there isn't a Toyota product.
And that's why, I mean, we're not like, I'm not trying to, feed to the fire. You guys know we love the product. We would love an electric product.
Zach or Nathan, I don't know if you're on the line. If you want to, respond to this. I got my own thoughts. I'm happy to share, but I'll let
you mean if you want to reveal something? Is that what you mean, Doug? Go ahead.
Doug, if you can't say it, just type it in the. If you can't say it, Doug, just type it in the chat.
Nobody ever sees what's on there. So
yeah. No, go ahead, Doug.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing I'll say is you guys know that we've always said we're going to be a portfolio company, and you may not see the EV on the road that you want to see right now, but they'll come. They're going to come. Are they soon enough for you guys? Probably not. Are they soon enough for mainstream? Yeah, we hope so. What the future of Prius holds is still something we got to keep, in our back pocket for a little while. But and we have debates about this all the time. By the way, if you're asking, what my role is now, I head our advanced product strategy group in North America. I've spent so long telling people who ask me, do you have to plug it in? The answer is no. And the relief on their face is significant, and it helps them buy the car. I've spent, 20 years now saying that if we were to ever bring a Prius EV, and I have to say yes, I honestly, I don't know what I'm going to do. Now, I'm not making the decision, so I don't want to freak you guys out.
But you say yes, but if that's a problem, we have other products.
We have other, yeah.
No doubt.
So
no doubt.
You can answer the question for those, do I have to put gas in it? And you can say, no, you can just plug it in at your house every night and you never have to go to the gas station. Because
Absolutely.
there are people that want that too. And there are more and more of those every single
Running out of time.
I drive a Prius Prime every day, and I'm getting 86 miles to the gallon or whatever it is, but my commute's perfect for that, right? Back and forth, charge at work, and then get home. And explaining that to people, certain people get it right out of the gate, but it's about 5 to 10%. The rest of them are like, wow, sounds really complicated. And it's just a matter of understanding how those people approach new technology and the mentality there. I mean, you guys have been answering those questions for so long. EVs are going to come. I'm not going to tell you what form or fashion, but they're going to come. In the meantime, whether you like it or not, we're going to continue with fuel cell. We're absolutely going to continue with, plug-in, and hybrid is going to be everywhere. One of the things that I think I'm most proud about now, Tony, you were talking about earlier, how dealers have trouble explaining hybrid and answering questions. What we're hearing from the field now, and maybe Rommel and the team can weigh in, our sales force out there right now is saying, with the new RAV4 hybrid, not even the Prime, just the RAV4 hybrid, the way it's been executed is dealers don't have to explain anything because the technology is so good and it's so impressive relative to the internal combustion engine version of the RAV4 that all a customer has to do is get in one and get in the other, and they're sold.
Yeah.
They don't ask questions. They don't need to know what hybrid is. They don't have to understand how long batteries last and yada, yada, yada. We're at that time now in America where people are just accepting of hybrids. They don't have to ask. They just get in and go. And it's taken us 20 years to get here. It's taken a lot of effort. It's taken effort by Toyota. It's taken effort by you guys in the community. But we're here now, and we're reaching a point where it's just accepted. And I think we need to appreciate that for what it is. That doesn't say we can stop, and just sit on our haunches and stop progressing. We're going to do that. But it's a big moment. This year, we just turned the corner.
In the early days, the first question out of everyone's mouth was, what's the cost when the hybrid battery fails? Everybody assumed it would fail and it would be $5,000. And I still see Gen 1s come in our shop on the original hybrid battery. I mean, most of them have been replaced by now, but they went over 15 years. And name any other product that has a battery life of 15 years. I mean, nothing. So, and everybody has a friend who has a hybrid. And because of that, now people are not asking, how long does the battery last? They just want to know that it's a fun car to drive and it gets good mileage.
Still see plenty of Gen 1s on the road even,
I see them all the time.
Yeah.
We've got over 100 Gen 1 customers in our database still that come into our shop, in Boulder, Colorado, which is not LA,
Right. As somebody who got to drive the RAV4 Prime, we need more Primes.
Yeah. After 20 years, the sales force should be able to explain it. They shouldn't have to rely on the customers already knowing more than them as they come in.
And I'm sure Toyota knows this, but if you could crank that Prime factory up to 12,
yeah,
you'll sell every single one you can make.
Yeah,
If,
yeah.
And if Toyota needs more people to write manuals like this on, oh yeah, well, not
great.
that, but how to, how to actually, sell your car and maintain your car, just let me know. All right. Cause
I didn't know this was a job interview.
I was just going to say,
See?
now, first we're nice.
Yeah.
Zach, Doug, Erica, and the whole Toyota team, we're kind of coming up to a time when, we want to let you guys go, unless you want to stay, and that's not a guilt thing. You guys have been working all day and all that. So, any final messages? Any final words? Any great scoops you want to hand us? We're more than happy to take them. The new extended range RAV4 that goes even faster. I'd like to hear about it, and I want to drive it really bad. What else can I put in there for myself? No, that's it.
Well, I do want to say to them that without Gen 1, Gen 2, and the original prototype, I would not have been able to get where I am today, because the EV1 was just not practical or affordable for me at the time. And like everybody keeps saying, it's a gateway. And so I did finally go fully electric, but I cherished my time with the Prius.
Thank you. Yeah. Appreciate that. Rommel, you want to close us out?
Yeah, Rommel.
I think Tiffany was going to say
Doug,
something.
one comment. Doug, one comment. Just want to make sure the team knows, regarding the EV question. We've made a statement, a very definitive statement, that by 2025, every one of our models will have an electrified option, and it will at least be hybrid, if not, have a pure EV option. So 2025 is not tomorrow, but it's not also too far away. So just so you guys are clear and looking forward to great things to come.
Thanks, Nathan.
Thanks, Nathan.
Yeah, thanks, Nathan.
Yeah, and if I could throw in 2 points real quick, and then I'm going to kick it to Rommel to close it out. But a couple of the different statements I'll bounce around, just based on the battery and the warranty. Obviously, last year, I think Russell and Danny, we were together in North Carolina and announced the extended warranty for the new hybrid battery. Now 10 years, 150,000 miles. So kind of building on exactly what y'all were saying, which they go for a long time. We know it. We're going to stand behind it. And then also to build on Doug's point, obviously heading into right now, if you walked onto a Toyota dealership, we have 2 models that are completely hybrid with Venza and Prius. If you walk on in another, 60 days, not even, there'll be 3 models that are completely hybrid with Sienna added on there too. So, but if you're looking at RAV and how the RAV4 hybrid's kind of selling itself. So if you look at the sales numbers in June, RAV4 hybrid outsold the RAV4 gas grade. It's the first time we've ever had, when you have either the choice of gas or hybrid, it's the first time we've ever had a hybrid grade outsell its gas counterpart. So we're definitely, to Doug's point, they're walking on, they're feeling the performance. They're also seeing the fuel efficiency, and incredibly successful. And we're not there without Prius, and all these vehicles are not, we're not offering an all hybrid Venza or an all hybrid Sienna or Highlander hybrid doubling its volume in 1 calendar year without Prius kind of setting the stage. It was obviously it helped us prove the technology, but as I'm having conversations in my role, it's helped educate. It's helped educate internally, but it's also helped educate consumers as well about hybrid technology. And we don't have the lineup we have without Prius setting the stage 20 years ago, and without you all kind of being ambassadors. So we appreciate you. Rommel?
Thank you, Zach. First, I want to say thank you to all of you for inviting us. This is such a treat. We did this. We used to do this, as Eric and Doug have talked about. We need to do more of this. We do some of this. COVID is not necessarily helping, but this is such a treat, and we really appreciate you guys just loving Prius. We love Prius. As Zach just mentioned, it's the basis to so much. So thank you very much for this invite. We want to stay in touch a lot more. I think it's really important to us that we continue to build and foster the relationship. and continue to learn from you, because that's ultimately, like Eric and Doug mentioned, I mean, there were so many insights that we picked up, and we can't be there unless you're there for us. And to everything that, all the vehicles that Evan was talking about, other than the Tesla, but, Danny and everyone, Tony, Russell, Paul, John, Casey, I mean, all the Toyota vehicles you've bought, I just want to say thank you, because we can't do it without you guys. We really, really can't do it without you. So thank you, number one. And number two, I think a bit like what Prius means, to go before. You guys have gone before. And that's part of the reason why it's so important that we maintain this relationship. So we intend to do that and keep on learning. So thank you again. And that's it. I mean, thank you again for the opportunity.
Thanks for coming on.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you guys for joining.
And
Have a good night.
joining
Got
our
the
little
birthday cake.
crazy. Yeah. Oh, we didn't get a cake, did we?
Yeah, where's the cake?
And Zach, I'll provide you another time to humiliate me and tell everyone about the time I
look forward to it. I
got
have the
the
video
all-wheel
somewhere.
drive RAV4 hybrid stuck in the snow and had to be pulled out with a tractor. And Zach was
It
in the
wasn't that you just
passenger
got it.
seat.
It wasn't that you just got it stuck. You took the turn a little too quickly, and
a little
spun out a little bit.
Story of Russell's life.
An entire show on just, Russell bloopers.
On Russell's. We could do an entire show on what I did in 72 hours with the RAV4 Prime. Believe me, I got, yeah. Thank you so much.
All right.
Everybody,
Thank you,
Doug and
everybody.
Erica, thank you so much. Erica, thanks for, you're not even with Toyota, but you just came and it's so nice to
See
have
you,
you.
Erica.
Everybody else in the Prius team, thanks so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for your support.
Bye-bye.
See you
Go
guys.
away and have a good
Bye.
night.
Yeah.
Good night.
Doug, you have to stay. No, I'm just kidding.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Thank
Doug.
you.
Thanks, y'all. Thanks, Doug. Good to see you.
Bye.
So here we are left, just the few of us. It's odd to have
All right.
Dan Cooper on my screen.
I know.
Oh,
But
sorry, I can go too if you need me to.
Yeah. Oh, there we go.
Yes.
Yeah.
So now, for
Oh my
for
gosh,
people
that
who
son is COVID.
It
is.
I had no idea.
God.
That's a COVID hat.
That's a
Oh, this is like a
Wow.
QAnon conspiracy right here.
Yeah.
Good.
So for the people who don't know, all of the people, or I guess everything in this commercial, and this was the 2010 Harmony commercial.
Danny's favorite
Yes.
commercial.
Yes, the entire thing, all of these are people in costume and hats. And that is why some of us have the hats.
Oh.
So Danny has
It's not a
one
dunce
hat.
cap, ladies and gentlemen.
I have one other one. I can actually pick up
I'll be the
alien
judge.
transmissions with this one. But these are actually hats from that
Alien
commercial.
Transmissions, was that?
Dismissions, emissions. Yeah.
Emissions?
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a grass hat like Danny, but mine's packed away, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah. So I got the big red one. Yeah.
Yeah, I think mine's the red one somewhere in the garage.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to mine. My wife probably threw it away. It's
Oh,
the most likely scenario.
well,
Yeah.
and I mean, so is there anything else that we want to talk about to wrap this up or to continue? Anything?
How about
No.
predictions?
Predictions? I
Toyota
like that,
use-
Paul.
Yeah.
Will Toyota use the Prius family name for an EV, like the Prius EV, kind of like the Bolt EV?
Well,
Or
so
will they can the Prius brand altogether and just come out with a
It
RAV
came
EV?
before and it went.
Based on what Doug said, it does not make me hopeful for a Prius EV.
No, but I
They
don't
can
know.
still do it.
Well, I think the first car will be a RAV EV, just because that's what people are buying.
It'll be the
And
third
God.
time the charm.
Right.
Well, they have
And I
a platform
think
that they could do it easier.
Yeah,
on.
it'd be a larger platform, and I think the markup, it would be more financially, it would make more sense for them to do a RAV4 EV than
Or
a
a CHR, maybe.
Prius
Now,
EV or
yeah,
something
well,
like
Venza
that in that form
platform.
factor. Yeah, yeah.
A
but they're
Venza.
doing
But,
collaboration with Subaru, right? They're doing a collaboration
The
with
Prius
Subaru.
name
Yeah.
has
EV,
so much
That's true.
goodness to it,
Right, but I don't see them breaking off a whole other EV thing. I actually I could easily see Toyota keeping the cars as they are. People who are people who are comfortable with a Camry and they want a Camry Prime. It's still a Camry. It's just that you plug it in. I see them taking the EV and just making it, you want a Camry, you can have a Camry, you can have a Camry hybrid, you can have a Camry Prime, or you can have a Camry EV.
See, and I don't think so, Tony, because I think you have to build it on a different platform to make it right. You need to build it on a platform, a skateboard similar to what the Tesla is. And I think if you're gonna have to build a different platform, you might as well spin off a whole line that's based on one or two EV specific platforms.
Right.
So,
and was it Doug or Zach that said that the salespeople still can't explain a hybrid 20 years later?
Yeah.
Yeah, but now they
Well,
don't
wait
need
till
to.
they try and explain.
Well, now they
EVs.
don't need to, but now if you want to do an EV, now you've got them back in the picture.
No, all they have to say,
Yeah.
it's like a Tesla, but cheaper.
Theoretically,
There you go. Yeah.
theoretically, isn't that what 2022 gets us to with 5th gen Prius? We get the opportunity to build it again from the ground up on the TNGA platform.
So potentially, yeah.
TNGA. Right. They are working on an eTNGA. So
Unless they're not ready to abandon the hybrid synergy drive concept, but yeah.
Yeah, because you wouldn't be able to fit something like that in a EV
HSD has lots of life in it left.
Yeah. That thing's solid.
There are many parts of the world
smaller
And again, I think Doug's very simple thing that's probably stuck in every Toyota executive's head is, do I have to plug it in? Nope. Great, just drive it. They love that. It's not for us. We're the bleeding edge. We're the leaders.
The all-wheel drive HSD is simpler and easier to put into a car than a mechanical all-wheel drive system.
Yeah. What do they do when California goes all EV, and then so do all the California emission states, not to mention all the countries of Europe? That is coming up quick.
2035, was it?
That's quick for Toyota time.
It's not 2004 anymore. People know what EVs are.
Yeah.
No, Tony, no. You're giving way too much credit.
Yeah.
Not everybody, but there are a lot more.
Like, I've had someone walk by when I was charging my Prime, and got to ask me what it is, and they knew of Tesla, but they thought Tesla was a gas vehicle. So they know of the name. They're like, oh, everyone's buying these, but they didn't realize it was electric. So you're giving more credit than what credit is due.
The closest I've got to that is people thinking that there's a backup gas generator, like in the i3 or Prime.
Yeah. Okay.
How far can you go after you run out of juice? You don't.
I'm not running cover for Toyota because we've been in these discussions where when you guys should be the leaders. You were the leaders with hybrid, or a leader in hybrid.
That's the disappointing part. Yeah.
That is the disappointing part. But I get their point, and they also want to make money.
Yeah.
They're not going to live off subsidies or anything else. They've got to see a path to profitability.
But this is the same company that lost money for a whole generation on Prius 1.
2 generations, probably.
Probably 2.
Probably.
Or just skimmed. Or super thin margins.
I'll give you that.
I remember in one of our super secret non-disclosure conversations that we had, the Venn diagram was put up, and at the time, the Prius mentality, and this had become the Toyota hybrid mentality, was around it was the Venn diagram, the 3 balloons, and it was, and I'm probably gonna screw this up, it was cost of the car, bigger batteries cost more, it was charge time, bigger batteries take longer to charge, and I think it was range. How much range do you really need? And I think the discussion came when they rolled out the plug-in, and we were in Torrance, and we were talking about why only 15 miles in the original Prius plug-in, and they explained those, with it. And they explained those 3 things, and that stuck with me because I remember, and if they're still holding on to that thought, keep the car inexpensive, keep the battery, relatively small so it doesn't take as long to charge, and how far do you really need to go on a daily basis? I think that there's stuff.
Yeah, but the average American drives 40 miles a day, and GM took that and built a Volt that went 40 miles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was more expensive.
It was more expensive though, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. And then they realized that sometimes people go further, and they kept increasing the range. Every year the Volt was out, it got a little more range, same price.
Well, not really any surprises there. I'm sorry, Paul.
No, that was my point.
I
have a question for Paul. In your history of the Prius, which generation do you enjoy working on the most, and which one do you hate working on the most?
Gen 2, I like the most just because I know them. I can work on them blindfolded. Gen 3, a lot of the stuff is a pain in the ass to do, especially the 10, 11, and 12s. The engines have all kinds of stupid stuff going on with them now. I will say the Gen 2 was way better built overall for longevity than any of the Prius. Yeah. I mean, I still see Gen 2s come in with 180,000 miles on them on the original brake pads, and
mine are.
the customer's done nothing but oil changes and tires.
So can I cut in for just a second, Paul?
Yep.
I'm sorry. So Danny, you and I were at the rollout for the Gen 3.
Yep.
One of the themes of that rollout that stuck with me and totally reflects exactly what Paul's saying is we've reduced the size. We've made HSD smaller. We've economized. And the whole point was like that they've been able to, basically they've been able to
cut a
make
few
money.
corners to make it
Yeah.
cheaper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They,
and
well, they sold
I
it
will
as
say
efficiency, but yeah.
They did, yeah.
But that being said, I guess they made the brakes too good on the Gen 2. So on Gen 3s, the average car needs brakes at like 120 instead of 150 or 180. So they made smaller brake pads, and the car's a little heavier, and it's got more power, so people are going faster, so they're using the brakes more.
The ice is a little flukier.
But
it is, yeah. My thing that stood out to me the most about that launch was when we were sitting there and they came out and they said, and the coolant bottle's gone. I'm like, what? I love the coolant bottle. I mean, yeah. Because it wasn't just the fuel economy. I mean, it was the efficiency, the emissions, and the fuel economy was awesome.
The one thing
as Russell will tell you, the Gen 2s are a dog going over big mountain passes.
I remember.
Yeah.
I drove my Gen 2 to Detroit.
In Colorado, you got to explain to people that are looking at a Gen 3 or other hybrid that it's not the Gen 2. You can
true.
go up the mountain pass in the regular lanes, not in the truck lane.
Yeah.
And the Highlander kicks
question-
ass. The Highlanders will fly up the mountain passes.
One question I forgot to ask, and I'm kicking myself now because we had them all right here. What the hell was going on with the Gen 3 dashboard? That was the ugliest piece of crap I'd ever seen.
They were serious
The mix
regression.
of TFT and whatever the reflective thing is.
And then the drop of all the touchscreen and stuff. Yeah.
Vacuum fluorescence.
There you go. Thanks.
No touchscreen. Yeah.
I had John here. Why did I even stumble over it? I should have just gone to John.
I have John here, like he's a book.
Well, that's what I was going to mention.
Really trying not to jump in when Doug was saying that, because I'm like, yeah, Doug, I remember you guys set a target for 36,000 units for the Gen 4, but you actually ended up selling 41,000 units. But I didn't want to interrupt him right there. Paul, have you had any early issues with the Gen 4? Because I mean, the Gen 4 is the same thing, right? The tooting, how everything is, they're reducing the loss.
Yet. They seem to be holding up. And we'll say overall, I think the Gen 3 batteries were better than the Gen 2s.
But technically they're the same, because remember the
same,
Detroit revealed, right?
Yeah, but I think it's
like everything's new except the battery.
Stress them as much.
Okay. Just because of the bigger engine, I guess, or
yeah, bigger engine, maybe some different software tricks, but Like I've got an Uber driver. He's got like 460,000 miles on his original Gen 3 battery.
Wow.
Okay.
The engine shit the bed, but
it's a lot of brakes too.
Hey.
Yeah, because the taxis here.
He got almost 300 of his brakes. Now he's a smart driver. He's like the Tony Schaefer of Uber drivers, you know. But
he's pasty, and what else?
Wow.
Sorry, I just came back. I got to throw these things out. I've been thinking about them for like 3 years.
Yeah.
I like the way the Gen 4s drive. I mean, they handle nice, they're quieter. They just feel a lot more modern.
Like I said, the unit, the powertrain itself, like Toyota can do it. It's just frustrating that they won't, or they're just not willing to at this time. I know maybe they're waiting for something. There's something about batteries. Right?
They're not pushing the Prime hard because the RAV Prime hard. I mean, because they can't make them fast enough.
There's none.
There's a 2-year waiting list here in Canada.
Wow.
Yeah, but if they got their shit together, sold to crank up that factory for the RAV Prime, then when they come out with the RAV EV, it'll be such an easy sale to anybody who's driven in a RAV Prime.
The RAV4,
Russell, what have they told you is the bottleneck on the RAV4 Prime numbers? Was it seriously that they just weren't sure how they were going to sell? Or is there a battery production issue with them? What's the official tagline that you've heard?
Radio silence.
It's likely batteries, though. I mean, when you look at every manufacturer telling us, they're saying they can't get enough batteries. Tesla's like, sell us battery companies. The Koreans are like, hey, we're Korean, sell us first. And GM's like, we would do it if we had some batteries.
And Volkswagen is like,
Volkswagen,
yeah, right. And like Panasonic, Cattle, they all have.
In Colorado, if the RAV4 Prime was for sale, it's going to be cheaper than the RAV4 hybrid with the rebates.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. Which is
insane because there's no competition.
And the RAV and all the other hybrids are still using nickel, right?
For now, the 2021 version of the Camry will be lithium-ion hybrid.
Is that just to give you back your cargo space?
No. It's because they're all built in the same. Like the design for the battery space is already there. It's just there to reduce weight, right? So
that's for emissions. Then.
Probably emissions and fuel economy.
Yeah.
And the Corolla hybrid will be a mix. So like if you look at the brochure, there's a little asterisk that says, you could get the nickel version, you could get the lithium ion. Depends on
not a mix in the same car.
The 2021 Corolla hybrid is a mix. The 2021 Camry hybrid is all lithium.
What's the
Sienna?
Sienna?
Be the one to get the old tech.
I believe the Sienna is lithium. I have to double check on that.
I think it's probably all
press
lithium
release.
because where are you going to put the batteries?
Because it looks like they've caught up with the production, right? If they're all switching to lithium.
Yeah.
Interesting how the Mirai just dropped off the radar.
Yeah, and did you hear none of them? Well, one of them brought up the Mirai, but nobody else picked that up.
Yeah.
And that was supposed to be out now. Right?
Yeah.
And I get it, COVID, yada, yada, but this was a big splash for them.
Yeah.
Are they going to wait until next year and try to roll it out with the Olympics, or?
Well, they did just announce a big partnership for, long haul trucker. Hydrogen, right?
Or Hino, whatever you call it, the company.
Yeah, but that's more controlled. You know where they're going to stop. They have to stop every 12, 11 hours, something like that, and they only have so many places that they fit. So you can roll out an infrastructure for long haul truckers.
Yeah, I'm just saying they might be looking at the state of the world today and seeing that's where they rightfully need to focus their hydrogen energies on. And I mean, the Mirai is a beautiful car. It's gorgeous in person.
And it drives great.
You've driven it?
You've driven it?
Yeah.
You haven't seen the video?
The second gen?
I did like driving the Clarity.
Oh, not the second.
Oh, I was about to say.
No, nobody's driven this.
Okay.
I don't know anybody in the U.S. has driven the second.
I've seen I've been in front of a model of it, but I've.
You're talking the second gen Clarity.
No, I have not driven.
Okay, yes,
I've seen
that was much more pretty than the first one. The first one,
but
Tokyo Motor Show.
Who cares about? I mean, there's 6 fueling stations, right? So it's dead.
I don't even know if the one here is still in service. Let me check.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. The Mirai as an electric platform is much more interesting to me than as a hydrogen platform. The idea that Toyota can build a fully electric vehicle, that is interesting to me. Now, the storage
and maybe
system,
that's where they put their EV focus into. You know, maybe that's where they bring out their first full EV product, and that's why they're building it on more of like an LS type of platform to make it an upscale car to compete with like a Model S type buyer.
there's this show called What Drives Us, and when we did our Mirai review, I speculated exactly that, Danny Cooper.
Oh, wow. Sounds like a good show. I'll check it out.
You should check it out. It's amazing. It's amazing. But no, I mean, I think the Mirai as an exercise in building electric vehicles is much more interesting than as an exercise in appeasing the hydrogen gods from Japan. And that's really, in my opinion, what the Mirai is about. Hydrogen, Japan. John, I'm going to go to, does that make sense to you?
What's that?
The big push for hydrogen coming from Japan.
Yes, and I think that's the one thing maybe we sometimes lose here in North America is that Toyota is a Japanese company, right? If you think about it, trying to run an electric car in Japan, you're running on 100 volts, 6 amps. You think a Prime is slow to charge? Try charging one in Japan, right? You definitely have to install 200 volts.
And how many people in Japan have a private garage where they can plug it in?
With a parking, yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So it looks like...
and they already have a hydrogen infrastructure.
Yeah, and they had to import, oil and everything. Like, when I was in Tokyo last November or October, there were a lot of hybrids, and not just Toyota, like Nissan, Honda, like anyone that makes a hybrid model, aside from the K cars, obviously, but it's a hybrid. All the taxis, they're the Toyota Japan taxi hybrids. Even the Nissan, e-Power ones that we make fun of here in North America, like there's lots of them there because that's like, for that market, it works for that market. Now I understand Toyota is a global company, so they need to have products that compete, worldwide. But that's my guess.
So so even taking the Japan example, it is a tiny country. It would be so easy for Toyota to develop a level 3 charging infrastructure there for pure EVs, even for people that don't have garages, and it would, I mean, are you kidding me? The Japanese people wouldn't take off on that. Like, they're so adaptable to new technology and stuff. I can't believe that that's the biggest obstacle, is that where Toyota's based. I think it would be very successful there.
Look at the difference in housing between there and here, and that's why.
And I get that it's their
Also
home
the subsidy on
market, but it's
hydrogen.
not the only market.
Right.
It's not even their biggest market.
Couldn't
No, but they do
Probably
have
the
that
US
home
is
base.
bigger for Toyota than Japan now, right?
I don't know. I mean, the funny thing is that, you have smaller vehicles, so then you could make smaller, shorter range EVs, like the Honda E that was just launched, right, in Europe and Japan. But the Honda E is expensive. Like, it's mini priced, right? If you think how much a mini is, because, it's a premium vehicle, it's a boutique vehicle, right?
Yeah.
The Honda E is basically priced like that. Compared to, say, the Mitsubishi i-MiEV, which just went out of production actually last month.
And how many miles is the Honda?
Honda
like
E,
100
I
miles,
believe
isn't it?
it's something like that. Like, if it were to be EPA certified, it would be about 100. But I think like WLTP is like 130 or something.
800 miles.
No, that's the NEDC.
Oh, okay. So it looks like the Columbia, South Carolina, and the Washington, D.C. stations have closed.
Wow. So all three of them. Huh?
Columbia,
So
which was
you
supposed to
can
be
go
like
from-
a hub of hydrogen technology.
Yeah, so I've
Well,
got,
when you buy a new Toyota, they do give you a full tank of gas at the dealer, so you
They
got
do. Right. They do.
Got
But-
500 miles.
But I mean, we're looking at what, 2 stations in Canada, and on the East Coast
3.
you got 1, 3.
Oh.
Let me zoom in.
There's 3 on the West Coast in Vancouver. I don't know why that's not showing up.
Oh, they're all 3 right there. They're 1 dot. Okay, so you got 4 in Canada, and
What?
yeah, because there's 1 on the East Coast. So 3 right here.
Oh, there's only 1 in Quebec. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, so there's 1 here,
Yeah, but
and there's 1 in Connecticut, and then everything else is in California.
Yeah.
I
mean, there's no doubt the infrastructure isn't there. There's no.
But it used to be bigger. Aside from the ones that burned down or blew up, I mean, it used to be bigger.
Who's using
So going
it?
back, so let's say going back to the Prius, because I guess like with the Prius. So the timeline for the next generation, if they follow the 6 years that they've been doing for the last few, so that will put it in what 2022.
Yep.
22, 23.
2022.
Reveal next year.
Right.
Really? Because wait, I thought the 4 was in 17.
The Prime is.
Oh, the Prime. Wow.
Prime,
Okay.
right.
Yeah, my Prime.
Yeah,
was
first year of
17.
fourth gen is
Okay.
2016.
2016. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So that will make it a model year 2022.
Right.
Which again, if based on what Doug said, 2025, it's 3 years too short. Which means we'll have to have a Gen 5, without an EV, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Or
They
it comes
put it in the refresh.
midlife. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So it could be a refresh.
And he did say 2025 as and that was Nathan that said that. He said that as the date of when an electrified model will be offered across the entire lineup.
Across the entire
So he didn't really specify
right.
EV timing versus.
I understand that.
The rest of the
He
lineup.
also didn't say.
You would
how
assume
they
it
were
was
going
towards
to
the end.
He didn't say how they were going to achieve that. So if you look at the models that already have hybrid and plug-in versions, and then you cut the rest, they've met their target.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, so you just cut the Yaris.
With no additional investment.
No, but
I mean, the only ones missing are the trucks. The Tacoma
I
and the
want to see
Tundra.
the Tundra hybrid.
Yeah.
Sequoia. You kill the Land Cruiser.
I think the Sequoia is going to be gone too. But
Okay, so you kill the Sequoia.
Well, at the same time, look at everybody else moving to the large SUVs.
That's true. The new, Tahoe Suburban or type vehicles
Cadillac.
are something to be contended with.
Yeah, and I believe there is a rumor that Lexus will put something above the LX to kind of compete with the X7s, the GLS.
But who would you trust more with a hybrid on a look like that? It would be the guys who've been doing it for 20 years.
Yeah. So
okay, so predictions for Prius next generation.
Wow, next gen.
Yeah.
A better Prime.
Well, as a refresher for the viewers.
Better Prime.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I was just saying as a refresher for the viewers, the current generation, the regular Prius gets 52 combined. The L Eco gets 56 combined, and I believe the Prius Prime is in hybrid mode is 54 combined. So anyway, just to set the baselines for the viewer that may not.
And the Prime range is what?
The Prime range right now is officially 25 miles, 40 kilometers.
35 realistically, 40 on a good day.
Okay.
But 25 EPA.
EPA. We're talking
25
EPA.
EPA.
25 EPA.
Because
I see them going for the full 40.
I hate to say it, but I bet you in 3 years, and we can roll back to today, the Prius car won't exist.
That's another one.
They will have maybe the Prius name in some kind of SUV thing, but Americans are not buying cars.
Like the Prius V,
no matter
but
what,
taller?
Yeah, they'll make some kind of compact SUV thing. Might say Prius, but it will be anything like the Prius now with 3 inches of ground clearance.
Really?
Fair enough.
Interesting.
In that case, then 40 miles is out.
I actually wonder if the Venza isn't that replacement already.
Yeah.
Because he said the Venza's only available electrified, right?
That is correct. It's only available in a hybrid with a lithium ion. Yeah, it's a RAV4 hybrid system with the Highlander motors.
Because aren't they selling like
all-wheel
6 RAV4s for every Prius out there now, or something crazy?
So that's an interesting thought. Before y'all joined, Russell and I were just talking about the changes with coronavirus and so many more people working from home, and the likelihood that may be a permanent state, and people will continue to probably buy fewer cars. And if you're working from home and you
they
only
don't
drive,
care about getting 50 miles per gallon.
exactly, you're only driving once a week to the grocery store. Who cares?
Yeah, and so many companies are going all remote now.
I think COVID's definitely the wild card and how
Yeah.
it changes our society, our work patterns, and all that. Let's take COVID off the table for a second. I would say that the next generation of Prius sedan would be heavily weighted towards performance rather than efficiency. I think they've got
Mr.
the
Toyota
efficiency.
is super into performance cars.
Yeah.
Well,
your head, right?
But
Akio Toyota.
it's exciting. It's
Yeah.
fun, right? You get in it and you punch on the accelerator and it goes.
Oh, I love it.
What does everybody love about their Tesla?
I was going to say, do you think it's Tesla driving that?
No. Well,
a little bit.
No, I don't think so, because I don't think everybody's driven a Tesla. I think what's driving
but everybody's heard about a Tesla.
Is
the YouTube videos, right?
Is the experience of driving the RAV4 Prime and seeing what a performance-tuned Prime is like, and going, man, if you put that in a sedan, you'd have a hell of a good time.
Well, and that's what I was kind of trying to allude to with my question towards them about that.
Yeah.
Because it seems like that's the obvious move. But we know what we know is that Toyota's been planning this generation for the last
3 years ago. Yeah.
Before COVID.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And so how many, first of all, how many plans have they scrapped because of COVID? How many things have they had to amend because of it? And how many things are they just pushing through with because they see COVID as like a blip in the Toyota timeline?
Or they're just in too deep.
Yeah. They're just too far in with the engineering.
Yeah.
So the other thing I'll bring up, and this doesn't involve Casey and Paul. This involves the other four of us that are on this show right now. We have a long record of making bad predictions.
Do?
I mean,
Russell, I'm still waiting for you to dig up that video from the Courtyard Marriott. Where
it's
you
audio.
asked for prediction. Audio.
I still have it.
Okay. Because we were asking what the Prius family would expand to.
Right.
I'm
and
waiting for that audio.
Well, the prediction was a hybrid Sienna, as I recall, and a hybrid two-seater sports car. Clearly,
you got 50%.
Clearly,
within 5 years, we'll be right.
Yeah. When they actually do the Supra Prime.
Oh,
Yeah, if they keep the Supra.
Well, back in the day, weren't they going to make a Prius brand like Scion and have it?
They were.
Well, yeah.
That was what we thought. That's what we thought this was going to be.
And then the Prius
was going to
Prius
be
V,
brand.
Prius 5 failed.
What's interesting is to go back in time and look at that as if they hadn't come out with the C, and if they had instead come out with a small SUV,
right,
a crossover type vehicle, what could have happened with that brand?
Yeah. The Prius CHR kind of
a
thing.
RAV4 hybrid in 2011. Like, think of where they'd be there.
Yeah.
I really enjoy the hybrid UX, which is just the CHR with Lexus, clothing on. It's a great little car. So I think it's inevitable that we're going to see a CHR hybrid, maybe a CHR Prime. Be a blast to drive.
I mean, in China, there's the CHR EV, right?
I think so. Yeah, absolutely. And it's a great
Do
little
you
car.
see them, bringing any of that Chinese lessons home to Japan and around the world?
The electrics?
Yeah.
No, there's no indication. Like the latest news that came out was it either today or last night was Lexus trademark RX 450h Plus.
Oh, well, I mean,
and that's in addition to the NX 450h Plus, which we are speculating that those are the plug-in versions.
So are those engineered in China then, and they just keep it all in there, or are they engineered in Japan and pushed there?
Which ones? The CHR?
The plugins. The cheap Chinese ones. Yeah, the electrics.
I think they're produced in China.
Usually produced in China, but are they
engineered? Just a rebadged candy.
They'll do that.
Rebadged candy. Yeah, because I think it's.
I gotta go, guys. I'll catch you next time.
Hey, Paul. Thank you.
Good to see you,
Great night.
Thanks for being on with you, Paul.
Thanks to Paul Guzik, boulderh.com or boulderhc.com. You can go check him out. If you are on the front range, he is the man to see. I bought my car from Paul. That's all I'm saying. Okay.
So if they're just rebadging, then I would explain why they're not bringing any lessons home, because they can't.
And just to double back for a second to Evan, I totally get your frustration because I share it, but I don't agree with it. I don't support it. And I want to keep pushing Toyota to do better, but I get why Toyota's doing what they're doing. They want to make money. They want to wait until the market is more mature. They want to wait until there's more infrastructure that they can leverage and not have to pay for it and not have to build it out themselves. And then they'll come out. Maybe the battery technology will get better.
And I agree with you that is the logic that Toyota is using. My disagreement there is probably evidenced by the fact that they can't produce the prime in adequate numbers, is that the fact that they haven't pursued, do you think?
Oh, absolutely. I don't buy the no battery bullshit. It's Toyota. If they want batteries, they'll find them. They'll make them.
Oh, for sure. They starved Honda. They starved Honda of the hybrid batteries because they could.
Honda? What did they buy? 24 hybrid batteries a month?
What I'm saying there is Honda actually had a good one, and then Toyota's like, we need more, and then all of a sudden they were getting like the B cells, and they were crap. But I mean, watching them be class leaders, and now they're the druggie in the corner. Like, come on, guys.
Right. I think that they they do know. I mean, my prime was like $32,000 to $34,000 entry level, and in 2017, an entry level Tesla was what, 70, 75 for Model S. So I think they know that they could sell 2 primes for 1 Tesla, and they've sold a lot. I mean, they know what they're doing.
Same. I see a number of them around town, they're just getting more and more.
Unfortunately, they're always at the charging station when I want it.
Charging stations are empty here.
Yeah.
Well, it's because
open your border, I'll come by.
COVID. It's because of COVID. Like, before COVID, all the charging stations were full. So I mean, it's nice to see. It's nice because, again, when people walk by, when people park and they see all these cars, and they're not all the Teslas. I mean, occasionally you might see the entire public station being used by Teslas. But I mean, there's a wide variety, right? I've seen Bolts, I've seen I've seen an i-MiEV, I've seen a Ford Transit plugged in. I was like, what?
Wow.
All I'm saying
the original one?
Saying is that for half of the price to enter the market, I bought a car that I can plug in, and in my use case, I'm getting Tesla all EV at Toyota price.
Yeah, that's what I did with the Volt. Yeah.
That's pretty much it. So that's probably what they're charging.
Okay, let's wrap this up. Anybody want to do some shout outs? Let's start with Mr. Green.
I am currently sitting at 840 subscribers. Please help me get over that 1,000 bump at youtube.com/Casey Green. That's KACEY GREEN. And I have a video that I just uploaded. I'm waiting for the HD to process, and I'll put a thumbnail, and it'll be good to go.
Go see Casey for all the skinny on Tesla software updates and superchargers. Dr. Fusco, you must have something to plug.
I ain't got nothing, man.
It's like you're lucky I'm here.
You're not looking for no more cycling sponsors. You're not selling.
Dr. Fusco's advice or prescription is go down to your Toyota dealer and push.
And tell him.
Say, do you have to put gas in it?
Yeah, just like that.
I like that. That's good. John?
No shout outs, but after listening to all of us talk about, next gen Prius, Toyota and stuff, write a comment. Tell us, what do you guys think? What do you guys think Toyota should do? What do you think Toyota should have done, I guess?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I would love to hear that.
That's my contribution.
Thank you, John. That's a really good contribution, by the way.
Thank you.
Danny Cooper. I'm still tripping seeing you on my screen.
It's been so long.
Like, are your kids graduated from college yet, Dan?
If you
How
can
are the
believe it,
grandchildren?
Stella turned 10 last week, which is insane to me. Yeah, my youngest is 4 now. Yeah, I have 3 kids. I think the last time I was on the show, I had 2.
I think so.
Wow.
I'm going to try to do this without getting emotional. But first of all, I want to thank Russell and Tony for keeping the What Drives Us show going so well. You guys have really taken the helm and well, you already had the helm, but without my presence, you've taken it further than I think any of us really thought it would go. And after all these years, it's so impressive that it's still going on today. So congratulations to you guys. Job well done. Thanks to all the folks who are active panelists on it. I'm sorry that I'm not on it more frequently. Hope that I can be in the near future. And then most importantly, I want to say thank you to the Prius community. For the last 17 years. You guys have brought innumerous joys to my life, and you've taken in directions that I never expected it to go. And so for that, I really appreciate it. For everyone who has ever joined Prius Chat, ever gone to Prius Chat, ever Googled a problem with a Prius and found their way to Prius Chat, I appreciate you, and I appreciate your presence on the site. So
how to turn off the backup beeper.
Exactly.
Seatbelt chime.
Number one
the
thing.
Backup beeper.
So thank you to everyone.
PriusChat.com. It is the place to go if you have a Prius, and I do now. Again, look at that.
PriusChat.com.
Tony Schaefer, and hopefully you won't run into mad moderator Tony Schaefer, who will ban you in a heartbeat.
I am your friendly moderator, as a matter of fact.
Friendly neighborhood. And speaking of friendly neighborhood, Tony Schaefer.
So I was looking around for one last. Okay, how many people have your thing?
It's on my car.
Ah,
or my son's car, I should say.
You see the amount of green I have there? That is impressive. So yeah, my collection of stuff here that I got out, and you can barely see any of it. You guys remember these?
The seeds?
Admit one
the
to
tickets.
the
Yes.
Oh my God.
10 event. Huh? How's that?
There were tickets for that?
Yeah, there were tickets for that.
And that's the one.
No, there were tickets for Tony for that.
I thought it just showed up.
crashed it.
Yeah. They still allowed me in. So
Yeah, that was
got
the one big
program.
one I missed because I was in Australia.
Yeah, that's when Stella was born.
Yeah, that's right.
It was a really good party.
Yes.
Yeah, it
got
looked
the
like it.
little thing with the puzzle piece that I think I was probably supposed to put in the puzzle at the event. But screw you, Toyota. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to the Toyota crew that joined us.
Yeah.
Honestly, I have no experience with any other manufacturer, but I will say that the level of access that we've been granted to Toyota humanely, which is to say they don't talk down to their to the owners, to the people who buy their products. Doug and Erica and the others, Nathan, have been so welcoming to people when they get on Prius Chat. People ask them questions and they answer honestly, and they engage in a very human discussion. It's very refreshing to actually meet people who represent a product and do such a great job with it. It's been such a pleasure to work with them in the past. So really thank them severely for being on the show. And if you have not yet given this video a thumbs up, well, that's okay, because you probably stopped watching it a long time ago. But if you haven't yet subscribed to What Drives Us, make sure and subscribe. And we're not going to spam you or sell your information, I promise.
Maybe.
Yeah, well, for one, we won't know who they are.
There's money, unless there's money in it for us, and then
yeah, and then we'll probably do it because
Yeah,
that's who we are.
yeah. Right.
Thank you, Mr.
Right.
Schaefer. Well, I want to once again thank everyone from TMNA, that's Toyota Motors North America, who is here. Doug, obviously, and Nathan and Zach and the rest of the Prius team. Huge thanks to Erica Gartsby, who doesn't even work for Toyota, has nothing to do with it anymore, but came back just because she's a good human. Tony has way... Someday we're going to have like a swag show. We'll just like bring your swag in, go off. Yeah. I got a few of those. Boy, we were drunk that night. Oof, God. Oh, nice.
That was a good night.
Yeah,
wow, I can remember the first half of that night.
Dark and Stormies. Lots of them. As always, I want to thank Michael Mannering for our amazing theme music. Visit him at manthing.com. As Tony said,
I'm so jealous.
You can't see it at the back.
What is he
there
doing?
we go.
Oh.
There we go.
Yeah.
Do I have one of those? I don't think so. Did you get that from Toyota?
I did.
Oh, maybe I do. I
I
have like 6 boxes of Prius stuff that
this is all
5 of which are still in my storage unit. Anyway, so, and thanks to everyone who showed up. Evan, thanks for coming back. Danny, who's abandoned his 3 beautiful little daughters tonight. Yeah. They're crying themselves to sleep because they don't have access to their father because he's here. So I don't want anyone watching to feel guilty, but you're the reason his children are miserable tonight, okay?
I had to leave the house tonight. There was so much crying at the idea of me leaving. So
yeah. And thank Casey and John, of course, and of course, as always, Tony for being there. Regarding what Danny said earlier, huge props, huge. I can't even stress how much Tony Schaefer has done for this show since Danny's kind of taken a step back. Tony does so much behind the scenes that makes it much better for all of you watching, makes it much better for me participating. Thank you, Tony Schaefer.
Well, thanks, Russ. I
Praise
appreciate it.
and I can't thank you enough. That's all I got. Once again, thanks to everybody from Toyota. Thanks to each one of you for watching the show. You guys are the reason we do it. Check us out next week and find out what drives us.
Spoiler, it's a Prius.
Not for me.
See you next week, everybody. Thank you.